And we're live! The Heck Podcast.
Oh, did I do that?
Yeah, yes!
Yes.
We're here with Christopher Winfree, frontman of Brother Man.
Yeah.
Welcome, brother. Welcome. Again, man, so tell us a little bit about your band.
Sure. Okay. Well, it's called Brother Man.
I like it.
And we're a two-piece blues rock and roll. So I play guitar and I sing. And then I have a drummer.
Yeah.
His name's Dalton. Dalton Smith. And
that's such a good freaking drummer name.
well, his real name is Jeremiah Buckingham Smith.
God bless, dude. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's what I'd go by forever, dude. I wouldn't go by just the first name
Dalton.
either.
Yeah.
I'd go by the whole thing.
Dude. Jeremiah Buckingham Smith.
That is royalty right there. Oh
yeah.
my God.
And well, speaking of royalty, he hails from Melbourne, Florida. So the cream of the crop of royalty.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah, right. It's
That's
like
so rude.
I wonder if that name was inspired from Roadhouse, Dalton.
no, yeah, we get that a lot, but I don't think so.
Next time I see him, I'm gonna walk up to him and be like, I thought you'd be bigger.
But yeah, he's from Melbourne, Florida, and it is the most like truly Florida place that you've ever been. Just like both the good and the bad of Florida.
Yeah. It's like swampland, but also like.
Yeah, well, it's his dad. Here I am talking about him as I'm being interviewed. His dad's from. It was a club promoter down there.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so they
cool.
and granted he would tell the stories better than me, but they got like the real heavy alt rock bands like in the early 2000s and stuff. Stuff y'all would be more familiar with.
Yeah.
I'm like an old school cat with I grew up on Elvis and like Alan Jackson.
Dude, but that's some good stuff, man.
But he grew up on like Lord knows what it's like. And he'll get into
Super
it, and he could get into it with you guys.
Yeah.
And but so he grew up like with the club promoter scene and stuff. And it's just Florida's a weird place, man.
Yeah. Well, how did you guys end up meeting up, man, and starting this band?
That actually is a good story. So I think it's 2018. That was 2014 when we met. It was January of 2014, and I've been alone my whole life pretty much, but I was dating a girl at the time, and it was like the only serious relationship I was really in, and we broke up like in the beginning of January. It was really traumatic. I'm overly emotional.
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive. I am a total piece of shit. It's really fine. I accept it. I embrace it. I'll cry later. It's fine. But so she broke up with me, and we had planned to have a class together every day of the week.
Yeah.
Second day of class, she nixes it. It's
God.
It's over, and we end up having class together like every day of the week.
What a horrible person! Why would you do this?
For the rest of the semester.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then we were lab partners in one of the classes.
no.
Oh my God, that's like freaking movie.
It was bad.
So how do you want to work on this?
And then to the point of which at the end of the lab class, at the end of the semester, some guy, we started talking. He was like real cool guy. I think we talked about music, we hit it off. He was like, I wish we could have kicked it more during class. You were with your girlfriend the whole time. And I'm like, oh,
you're sick.
that hurts. Stick it in and twist it a little bit.
Oh my God, man.
But so that breakup happened. It was really the beginning of honing in on guitar playing and songwriting, and then that weekend I went to a party just to get out of the house, and I'm bad at isolating myself and being a hermit, so I was just do something I hadn't been doing. So I went to a party and see a scrawny little kid. I want to call him a dweeb too. He had an Alabama hat on, which was and I'm from Birmingham. I'm a big Alabama fan.
Roll Tide, dude.
Yeah, Roll Tide. Hell yeah.
Freaking Mobile right here, man.
Oh, right on. Cool. Yeah. So my family has season tickets. They've had it since the 60s.
Dude, hell yeah.
So like we've been going to games like my whole life. Huge Alabama. Anyway, Alabama. I was like, Roll Tide, man! Like the whole thing, because I didn't know anyone at this party. And I don't party well. I think like the older I get, I'm like, wow, I'm really bad at having fun. Like,
don't party well with others.
I like am this old man that like I'm not even kidding. I just bought a house in the Nations, and like
there you go.
Like I'll have. It's on the corner of a road, and like kids will walk through the corner, and like I haven't yelled it, but in my head I've gone, get off my lawn. And then I'm like, oh my god, what is happening? So he had the Alabama hat on, and I said Roll Tide, and knowing him now is so funny, thinking of this like interaction, because he is like it's so perfect of how ADHD he is. Yeah. Because for some reason ADHD people are really good at drums, and it's really interesting. Both of you?
Yeah. We're all just hyped up.
Well, it's because there's so much going on with the drums, and it's like the only place your brain can truly thrive. Yeah. But when he's like interacting with people, he's just real goofy, and like he goes along with things that maybe he like doesn't know he's going along with, conversationally speaking, and we just hit it off. We started talking about music, like, and I've always done the two-piece stuff, and we can like touch on how that started, but we hit it off, and then like I think I had a bottle of wine in my car, because again I don't make any sense. Dude. And I was like, hey, you want to like, do you know anyone here? And he's like, no, I don't. And I'm like, you want to go drink wine in my car? And he's like, sure. And I could have totally murdered him.
I know. You want to go drink a bottle of wine?
He's like, hey, kid, I have some wine in my car.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, man. So, we, and then we just like started talking, and then he, I was in a really dark place, and he just came over and jammed, and really we only jammed and hung out, periodically, and for about like almost 2 years before we decided to like start playing shows and stuff. And it was a really slow burn. I was at the end of college and trying to wrap up, and he was kind of in the middle of it, and just kind of that's kind of how that happened.
There you go, man.
And it was the epitome of one door closing and another one opening.
Yeah, I think
it's crazy how things like that happen.
Oh,
like, I think it was Seth who was telling me this. He said something to me that made like so much sense at one point, because I was in a really dark spot. You know how that goes. Like, you'll just be, and he said something like, "You'll never." I can't remember how it goes. It was perfect how he said it, but it was like, "You'll never make it if you stay in your comfort zone."
Yeah, there's no growth in
the minute that you step out, that's when you're going to see a change. And it's like you went to that party, just
exactly
completely nothing. You wouldn't have never done that.
Very minimal step out too. It's like crazy how, because I know more than anything about a comfort zone. It's like I'm a total hermit. Like
that's how I am.
Thrive in isolation. Leave me alone, world. And then you like it. Because I'm so accustomed to that, the minute I go out, like I have a phenomenal conversation with someone, and it ends up like it's all kinds of doors open. Just like from one instance of like getting out of my damn house.
Isn't it weird that like you're like that all like throughout most of your life, and then you like I've seen some of your stuff on your live shows. Holy crap, dude! It's totally like you wouldn't think that you're like this. Just internal person, like go live. I mean, Jesus.
That's what happened when I first saw him live, because like I met him in Publix because he works for Shipt.
Yeah, groceries are my life.
And I work for Nabisco, and like we just ran into each other randomly, and like
well, we had gotten accustomed to seeing each other, and it's funny. I try to reflect on how, because I'm in the grocery store all the time. I've done over like 3,000 deliveries.
Oh my God.
I've done it for 2 years. Like it's disgusting how often I'm in there. but there's like this gradual progression of becoming, acquaintance and friends with people in the grocery store because, and it's happening with strangers because I'm in there like so often. And it's like hilarious to me. I'm more famous for grocery shopping than I am for my music right now.
I know you're from Kroger's.
Straight up, all Publix. I don't. All Publix. No, Kroger's fine. No, I just don't.
Yeah. But like we randomly started talking one day. I don't know why. I think he like might have asked me if I knew if this product was in or something.
I don't know, something.
It was something.
Some grocery.
Yeah.
It becomes like it's so crazy how it's just so natural.
Yeah.
Because you'll ask a question or something, or if they have something, and then you see them a lot, and like you start asking about.
And then we
we
talked about music and stuff for a minute, and then when we introduced ourselves and found out we were both named Chris, I was like, all right,
dude,
nice.
I go to this gym and I see this dude all the time. He's at the front desk, checks me in or whatever.
Yep.
His name is John Reeves.
Oh.
The exact same.
Oh,
the exact
the
same
heck.
spelling and everything. I was like, what? And I called up there one day to see if they were open or whatever. It was like a holiday or something. I was like, are you guys open? And he was like, is this John Reeves? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, my name's John Reeves. He's nuts, dude.
in the back of your head, you're thinking, I'm gonna have to find a way to duel this guy.
I know. I'm gonna have to cut this dude's head off.
Should I become friends and betray him, or just blatantly, flat out say, "Hey, we've got to fight one day"?
I can be the only John Reeves. This gym's only big enough for one John Reeves.
Dude, and then Thunderbolt comes down and strikes me with his power.
Smite me.
Yes.
But yeah, like just from going back to when we met, like and talking, like he just seemed like a normal kind of guy, And then like I went and saw him live, and he's like flailing around and like kicking and stuff, and I was like, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah. Dude, and like, I mean, your style of music too. I feel like, do you have a lot of crowd interaction whenever you're? How do you feel like you're?
I'm weird about that actually. One thing you will like never hear me do is, how's everyone doing tonight?
Yeah.
Which is like a fine thing to say.
Yeah.
Like I get that. Like you're asking how they're doing. You want enthusiasm, but there are people that do it like constantly, just insistently,
between every
asking
song,
like how they're doing, and I don't know, it's a little too much for me.
Yeah.
And it's the cliche of just like, how's everyone doing tonight? No,
you gotta do that voice too. Like,
no, like that's how people do it.
Exactly.
Like of all shit, and you're like, why are you yelling at me?
what is this? Why are you so angry?
I'm fine.
What do you want from me?
So like, how did you get into doing the crazy stuff live?
The crazy
did
stuff?
that just come natural, or did you start out doing that? Or
that's always been like part of it, and I don't.
Awesome. Very energetic live shows.
Yeah, I don't, and I was touched on how I grew up with Elvis. So Mama, my mother's mom. So I grew up with my mom and my Mama for the first 9 years. Dad left after 6 months, so it was just me and them, and it was all, she loved Elvis. So growing up, you're kind of a product of your environment in a way. And we would just watch Elvis movies, and she would like play Elvis, and of course you're gonna see like this guy like shaking his hips and like
he's just doing it, throwing it down there and trying these crazy.
The older you get, I mean, you do research and stuff, and it was just like, that's just like, he wasn't trying to do anything. It's just like he felt the music.
That's what he wanted. Yeah.
And for me, it's just always been like just feeling the music and like just, and then you like realize how fun it is to really
like it.
And then you like realize the more you do it, the better you get, and like your moves become more fluid, and you get the movements of the song and how your strumming patterns are affected by the tempo, and you become one with it, and to be pretentious as anything, and it just kind of fed itself. But even I was in 4th grade, and
Going way back.
Even first grade, I was like, I did Paul Revere's speech, and I was like getting into it, and like doing this first grade Paul Revere speech in front of like the whole school, and like getting way too into it for first like a 6-year-old, and so I guess it was innate in a way. And then like 4th grade, I moved schools. So I didn't know anyone at this, like, and it was like going from, I got both sides of the coin. So first 9 years was with my mom and mama, and it was like, you know, very poor kind of situation. And then my mom remarried to Randy, my stepdad. And then we went from like, so those 9 years really poor. Second 9, like, he was a radiologist, so like upper middle class. And I moved schools to like an upper middle class, like predominantly white school. And it was like preppy kids, and like, and I'm like thrown in here like from you know, the other side of the street, and like nobody, and they have auditions for the 4th grade play. It was like, that was the big play, 4th grade play, and it was some Christmas play, and like one of the characters was Elvis, and he was elf. He was an elf. But he was Elvis.
There you go. Heck yeah.
And my calling card.
I was going to say, fate has come your way.
I audition, and I'm the only one that knows how to impersonate Elvis, and so I nail the audition. And so Mama makes me like this Elvis jumpsuit, like the Vegas one. So I like have the deep V, and like 9-year-old deep V, with like the wig and the whole like sequins, and like going all out for it. And like the song you sing is something about like I'm blue or something, and it's just ripping off Blue Christmas more or less, and just like in it, just like doing it, and all from like the whole Elvis thing growing up, and and it just, I don't know, it's just kind of part of me. I can't really explain it.
I think it's awesome though. You either have that or you don't. You know, like we were talking at the last podcast, like an energetic live show is what like. I mean, there's bands that either have like an amazing album and you go to see their show and you're like, I just like Animals as Leaders or something like that, where like you just go there for like to like see it happen live, you know what I mean? Or like somebody like Tony Iommi or something like that, you know, or I don't know, but it's just like a really good guitarist that you're like, man, I just want to see this live. And then there's bands that like do that, and they also have a really awesome, really hyper high energy performance, and it's more of an experience than you know, like it's more of an experience, you know. And I don't know, man. I think that's what you guys got going on. I think like it's more of the experience. I'm gonna have to come out and get a show because I've just seen some video, and
you should. You know, I've always been big on understanding the separation between the two arts, of the art of the studio and the art of the performance.
Exactly.
And you really can't have one without the other if you want to be good. Like you have to really go all in each one, but know how they differ and how to attack those different things. And then also where they cross over, which is the song more than anything. And I'm really big into songwriting. And that, like, the minute I started playing, I like started writing. There was no
that's how it was
like,
for me.
There was no like learning a bunch of other people's songs or like, it's like however good I was at the guitar is like I was gonna write a song based off of that skill set. And then you get better, and then like the songs become more dynamic, and you get, you know, this natural progression of your own songwriting. Because I've always really wanted to have a distinct voice in the way that like my songs come across. So
like Chris was saying, like how did you describe their music to me?
It was kind of like Roadhouse rock, but like I mean the actual EP though, it was like Roadhouse rock, but like Driving in the Desert, Quentin Tarantino type sort of style, you know.
I love that you use Tarantino, because that's,
I mean, like in my mind when I was listening to, like, I can't remember, it was the first song I believe.
Bait?
Yeah, and I was just like thinking of like some sort of Pulp Fiction like driving scene. You know, like whenever John Travolta and like Uma Thurman's in the car, and it just shows like the camera's like in front of the car, and it just shows them like driving. You know?
Oh yeah.
It was like that.
Right on. My tag, I need to like set it in stone and add like do something with it, but the whole EP, the mindset that we ended up coming up with was desert rockabilly for real space cowboys. So
nice.
Yeah.
That like encompasses it so perfectly.
Yeah.
Because like I'm a huge Cowboy Bebop fan.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I mean that anime had a great soundtrack for what it was, and like that can make me think of Cowboy Bebop as well.
Right on.
Like you have like this outlaw sort of persona, but it's in a futuristic environment. It's pretty good.
Like well, for you, what was your favorite song on that album, or can you pick one right
Yeah, I do have a favorite. True Colors ended up being my favorite. That's the fourth. It's just 6 songs. So, and that one used to be a lot slower and was more of like a blues melody kind of thing, where it kind of had the drums holding the groove down, and there would have been more of a blues, like old-timey blues kind of bass line carrying, and then there's the guitar riff that was the same, and Mark, our producer, so Mark Whitmore produced the record.
That's cool.
And Mark is great. He he's the assistant producer with like Pat Carney from the Black Keys.
So, is that in what studio did y'all do that?
We did it at Fleetwood Shack. That was Mark knows Bill Reynolds, and Bill is he like played bass with Michelle Branch.
Oh, nice.
And that's who like Mark was working with. And still is working with. And but Mark found us like 2016, I think. And by like, you know, you play shows in town, you play shows with other bands and other friends, and then, you know, you end up meeting a lot of people along the way. And Mark came up to me with the True Colors song, and he wanted to like speed up the tempo and just like give it a shot. I remember when he came over, it was like, I forget when it was, but anyway, it was. And when you ask me to do something to my song, I'm very peculiar with them because I'm very meticulous in the songwriting process. And so he's like, speed up the tempo. It was like maybe 60 something, and we wanted to push it to like 105 or something like that. And so I like did it, and it ended up being like this real like boppy kind of more rockabilly blues song, more than like a standard like slow groove blues. And I just like fell in love with it. It changed the dynamics of the song. It definitely changed the meaning of the song too. It went from being sad to angry. And
totally wild how that can happen.
And then we were overdubbing bass over it, and I accidentally like kind of got a Money Pink Floyd where you get like it's like you go low and then you go back up to the root, and it just ended up being like perfect. And there's and the solo for that song, this was the song that took the most takes, and I usually use this like pathetic guitar processor. It's like I'm so ashamed by it. It works. I've had it since like high school. It's like a Boss GT10. It's like I'm so
you can't go wrong with it.
Well, it's just a disgrace that I'm like this old school like blues
pedal parts are falling apart.
No, it's not. No, it's like a computer kind of thing. It's like one of the computer ones where you have like 50 presets with like 4 channels on each one.
Alright, you got it. Nice.
And it's like you're running it through a computer and then to your tube amp, and it's like, what are you doing? You like have a great amp. And so of course we scrapped that for like recording because I have a 75 twin reverb, like original everything, and it's like a great amp, and it's like the best sounding twin that you'll like ever hear.
I was about to say, you probably like a lot of people, if anybody's listening to this guitarist, are like,
it's good stuff. So he like found the sweet spot, and we only used like a boost pedal for like the solo, so it was very minimal, just like straight up what the amp could do. which ended up getting us the exact tone we needed on the whole record.
Angus Young style right there, man.
Nice.
No
Actually,
effects,
big influence of
Oh
mine.
yeah, there you
I'm a
go.
big
Well, that's pretty
AC/DC
his
nut.
style, man. Oh yeah.
Freaking love AC/DC.
And so when we hit the solo, there was a boost, but there was also an overdrive, and my goofy feet don't work sometimes, and I hit both,
Yeah.
and it made that screech that
Yeah,
you hear in the
hell
solo. So, and totally an accident, but it was like so perfect, you couldn't
Yeah.
even believe that it
Yeah.
actually worked out that way.
It's like somehow.
And yeah, it was like, you know, meant to be
Divine
kind of thing.
intervention.
Yeah, it totally
Oh,
was.
what's up?
Yeah, God was like, here's the screech.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's the devil with guitar. God's
Yeah.
like, oh, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, right.
That's freaking awesome, though.
And so that ended up being my that's my favorite track. But the whole thing is very near and dear. All the songs, everyone. I think Dalton's favorite was "Peace of Mind," which was the single, and that was more of that Motown kind of softer
Yeah.
one. And but all of them, I could talk about all 6 songs like all day.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
the intro.
definitely from what I got from a lot of it is, I mean, like, I listen to, like, a lot of music, different genres, but, like, specifically, you could tell that these lyrics were meaningful in these songs.
Thank you.
Like, you could, I mean, it was just something about how they went with the music itself and the tone of the vocals and stuff. You could tell that the lyrics were very meaningful.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean they're very well thought out. Not to the point of like paralysis by analysis by any means, but because you know, like you got to know when to stop.
Yeah.
Like I'm not Leonard Cohen writing 100 verses to Hallelujah, and then like trying to pick like 5.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that'd be.
And so, but I mean, yeah, I can't. It's still it's still very feel based. I always think of I forgot what Jay-Z song it was, but and it's so funny that I always bring this up. But before one song on one track, he says it's just what I was feeling at the time, and like there's so much to that. When you're songwriting,
that's true, man.
Like, and even if you're going about it more of a Cezanne instead of a Picasso, like Picasso was like he just knew what he was going to do and he like did it.
Yeah.
And like it was like genius, like Paul Simon and like Bridge Over Troubled Water and that kind of stuff, or like Paul McCartney and Yesterday. It's just like, oh, I just dreamt this song, I'm going to write it, and then I'm going to sell.
Can you imagine being able to do that? I can't get it out like that, man. Like,
Well, sometimes I mean, it's interesting. I've had instances where songs just spew out.
Yeah.
And
that's usually how anything I ever write.
That's mostly for me.
It's like, and then I'll have to like I don't even know really what I wrote. Whenever I go back and read it is whenever I actually comprehend it. I'm like, wow, that came out of me. You know?
Definitely. Like a lot of out of body writing experiences where, and then you go back and you like read what you read and you. Or read what you wrote and you find like hidden layers and themes
and stuff. Yeah.
And then I like to edit to where if there's like a really strong theme being developed, whether it be a metaphor or like a simile or something that is basic and like the beginning, you can really build a solid foundation of allowing that to like develop throughout the song. And so I can have like spew lyrics come out, but also I try to like edit those
to where
and really question them and like make sure like is this like just bullshit or is it like is this
do you feel
like truly what you're feeling? Because sometimes I mean you talk out of your ass and like that's going to translate to your songwriting eventually.
I was telling my brother, like me and him do it. We've got a 2-piece band, so I do the guitar, but I also have like an octave shifter and an overdrive pedal.
Okay,
so like
you know what's up.
Right. But like a lot of my lyrics are all like almost like rant oriented. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like it's like I'm on a really long rant, and then somehow whenever I put this, like I just sit down and I'll write, and I'll just start writing down, and it's just like my thoughts, just ranting out on
stream of
paper,
consciousness kind of thing. Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, that's cool. There's some really cool one-liners in there. I like that. But none of that shit rhymes, so how's this going to work? And then, like, I start putting it into a song, and then somehow those words just flow into a...
It's crazy, and it's funny because you get, like... you feel like you have writer's block.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, and like, I haven't ever had like true writer's block because there's always patterns hidden in the songs. And I mean, all you have to do is like dust it a little bit.
Yeah.
And eventually it does reveal itself. I'm a big believer in like letting songs write themselves.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because like, even if it's a riff, there are just so many little things hidden in it. And so I was like, so I'm actually like a math brain. I'm very left brain.
Yeah.
I like, my major was applied math with a double minor in stats and business.
Jesus, there you go. Definitely math oriented.
So very, very math oriented brain. I'm very type A. I'm like all those like crazy person things. And so for me, guitar, especially the more you play, it's like so many beautiful patterns hidden in it. Whether it be, even if it's just chords and like different voicings of chords, or you know, translating a scale up and down, and like all the, especially with like country, like the more I play the country players and stuff, and you talked about your buddy that was like shredding country music.
Oh yeah.
It's because like you just find all these hidden like tritones and like, you know, everything in it that's just so fascinating. And then you start writing a song, and even with like old school, you know, 3-chord, you know, country chords, you still find these like hidden melodies in the chords. If you can play C, G, and D 1,000 times, and then, but if just hitting one string accidentally harder than the other, all of a sudden you hear a beautiful melody that comes out of it.
Dude, and on that, can you imagine like how many songs have been that use that same exact chord progression, and they're so different, even though they're the same 3 chords, totally different songs.
So many different avenues you can take just 3 chords.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long the guitar has been in existence since, like, you know, the guitar that we now know as a guitar, but like, dude, we have a lot of years.
Classical guitar. I mean, you know,
hundreds of years for sure. But I mean,
I have no idea. I don't want to sound like an idiot.
Dude, cavemen out there freaking playing with cat guts.
Probably.
Bastards.
Who invented the string?
I know, Was it like something like goat gut or something like that? What was the strings made out of? It was something weird like that, like cat intestine. I don't know. Something really gross.
Well, you have horsehair for like violin and stuff.
I've got one lingering around here somewhere if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
But dude, so you guys, y'all just did you do your album release in New Orleans? Is that where it was at?
No, so yeah, we had a one-off the week before, and then the release show was May. So it came out May 18th, and the release show was May 19th at the High Watt.
There you go.
So
it's fun, man.
Yeah, we love playing at the High Watt. They make us sound so good there. I've been. You talk about your octave. Bass rig or whatever, but Mark has left his bass amp. He got a Bassman 60, a Fender, and so I've been splitting my twin and the Bassman through the pain because it's so much like a relationship.
Yeah,
but you're bandmates.
Yeah,
and when it's just 2 of you, it's like it's heightened.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very marriage like.
Well, me and Seth.
And
we tried doing stuff, and he always wanted more of the full band effect, and I was like, dude, every time we get more people involved in what we want to do, it never works. It's like we need to do it just me and you and have it that way. But long story short, it is like a relationship. It's like we're married. I was like, it's either I'm gonna be married to the music or I'm not gonna be in it.
Right.
So I mean, it's crazy how much that coincides with one another.
It really does.
But so from then on, from high school on, you've been 2-man band exclusive?
So it was, we did a lot in high school, thinking back, for like what was available for us to do. And we definitely tried. And it was a real bummer because he went to Mississippi State and I went to Belmont. But I did the whole math thing. So, but I did initially go for music business, and like I moved there, and I met a guy who his name's Chase Bader, who's actually like the lead singer of a band called Waker, and they're doing really well. They're on Lightning, and like they I forgot but they played Hangout and stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
They're on the uppity up for sure. And but we met at a Belmont event in Birmingham.
Oh, yeah.
And then we were like, let's be roommates. And then he played drums, so like I was like, let's do like the 2-piece thing.
Yeah.
And so I we had gone to Belmont trying to do that, and then our suite mate played bass, and I was like, well, let's try a 3-piece. And we did play a show. And then I don't know, just knowing my mental health history and stuff, something just didn't go right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went from wanting to do the music thing, and I was like definitely intimidated for sure, because looking at how I was in terms of playing compared to now, and I still don't even think I'm adequate, but
That's Nashville for you, though.
but
man.
it really is, and it'll like really scare you off. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is awful. I'm gonna get a real job and be a productive member of society.
Yeah.
And
Pay
so
my
I
taxes.
got my math degree, and
Yeah.
didn't play a whole lot. I always wrote, but really it was that breakup before I really started obsessing with writing and playing and getting better. And even at the end of my math degree, like it got to the point where I was I began doing my personal training, because I always like going to the gym and stuff, and I think it was like my last semester of this math degree.
Yeah.
I already knew I didn't want to do anything with it. And then I was like in the midst of helping start like a fitness company with two buddies of mine.
Yeah.
And then so like it was just like all backwards, and like right after I graduated I was a personal trainer, and then like I quit that and then started the band stuff. But I've always been fascinated of how you can play guitar to like the right way for a 2-piece.
Yeah.
And it's like a real big goal and like mission of mine to like be as good as I can as like a 2-piece guitar player, where you're playing rhythm, you're playing bass, and you're playing lead.
Yeah.
And it's all put together in a really presentable fashion for that song.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I don't know, it's just like an obsession of mine.
Yeah.
And I write bass lines. I get the beauty of a bass. Like,
Dude, I freaking love bass. If you get a good bass player, it's...
and especially one that like can hold down a pocket and like groove real hard and be locked in with the bass drum, and like, because I love roots music, and like when the bass is just like plucking along, even country bass, when it's just like beautifully placed.
Yeah.
And so I like, people think I hate bass and like hate bass players, and I don't. I like, a lot of the songs are built around like a bass line, or making sure that there is a groove to it, but it's just incorporating all those parts in one. Probably because I'm stubborn and I'm an only child, and I like to try to do everything by myself. And at least I'm like not being Shaky Graves and like trying to play drums while doing all of this.
So you got like the
feet.
pedals.
So and Dalton's just like out of this world drummer. I don't know, it's just like a goal of mine to really do that. And it's funny, I'll watch like old Black Keys and White Stripes, and like people, we always get the low end stuff.
Yeah.
If you watch those guys, and
Dude,
if you want to hear talk about complaining about a low end, like some of those old videos, you're like, man, they blew up.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah.
How do you feel like live? That you compensate for that? I know you were talking about that Bassman amp.
Yeah.
But,
that helps a lot. It's been a progression. It definitely has. Like, at first I just had this tiny Egnator, like Rebel 30, and it was like a total piece of shit. And it didn't do very well, and we still held our own. And the one thing, like, that can't go without being said is Dalton's ability to simulate like a bass with his just foot. He only uses one. He doesn't do the double. He grew up doing the double and stuff. Like, again, I wish y'all could talk to him about like all
just
his like
metal
and punk and like all this heavy stuff. But again, it's all about placement and space, and matching that kick with my whatever root notes that I'm hitting. and properly spacing it, because when we play and we're learning a song, he's intently watching my strumming patterns to get a gauge of how the tempo and how the direction of the song needs to go, and combining that with like me doing like 3 guitar parts at once, it does like show, I feel like, at least that they're like, we're at least doing our best musicianship to make up for not having the low end. And
there's a lot of people out there that will like just throw on like let's just like cut out the high end altogether and just double up on that low end or whatever and make up for that sound that we're missing or whatever. But I mean,
because then you don't have a high end. You don't have the melodies and stuff.
Well, like like CKY or whatever. Do you ever listen to like their? Well, they've got like they pretty much do the same setup that I've got, kind of like a distorted guitar and bass and stuff like that. But they only rely on like those low notes. And they just totally cut out that.
Well, and then there's I don't remember the name of them. Royal Blood.
Yeah.
Where they use the bass and then use the octave pedal and stuff. I think you use like a 5-string bass or something. Yeah. And but again, I'm so roots based where it's like I'm a blues player. Like I have to. I'm still a guitar player at the end of the day, and you gotta have that.
I don't know, man. I mean, I guess the weird thing with our style is like I'm into like progressive metal type stuff. So I like that kind of like intricate guitarist. I don't like just. I mean, I do strum some chords and stuff like that, but I like a lot of like notes and stuff.
You shred.
So I don't know, but like, I really like doing that. And then whenever we started moving it over to like just one guitar that's taking over guitar and bass and then drums and stuff like that, I noticed that I was using like a lot of really full chords whenever I did do chords, and so there's like 5-note chords and 6-note chords and stuff, and I'm like, how is this going to translate, because the bass is going to muddy that up really bad. And so that's been a really big, like for me at least, writing wise, it's just been a really big struggle finding out like that middle ground.
It's just unreal how it develops. One thing I've been playing around a lot with is in country you'll play a C, but you'll see a C and a G bounce back and forth with that bass root note. And manipulating just different fingerings of chords to where you can, and I play with my thumb, so you can really move around a little bit more, and it's just like little nuances, like little tweaks that you can add to where like I'll like play a bar chord but with my thumb and do like an A, but then I'll bounce up to the E and like do a full bar chord where you can accentuate like and really emphasize the E on the A string and then bounce back down to the A, where it's like you're getting that bass bounce
wall keeping kind
of high, and you're walking a little bit and it's minimal, but because you can emphasize a little bit more, and you're doing so much as it is. And granted, you have to have like an ear, like a normal ear might not pick up on it, but there's ways to like manipulate the chords. Oh my god, that's what I love about these chords, man. It's just like you hear melodies and like little riffage and stuff going from whatever you're doing. It's like if you really emphasize certain aspects of a chord, it adds so much depth to it. And we're big on dynamics. That's the other thing that adds for that low end, is being able to like, which again boils down to the song, where if a song you need to be quiet during like a verse or even like a pre-chorus, or you're doing a crescendo or a decrescendo or something, where it adds so many elements to it. And I see like 5 pieces or 4 pieces and stuff that just play the same level, and I'm like, you're missing out on so much, because those dynamics, that's the attitude of the song. And it's just, it gives so much character to it.
That's one thing that I've really noticed about a lot of 2-piece bands. 100% dynamic. Like 68 is a prime example. They do, it's hard to describe their music. They're kind of like White Stripes, but then they have like more of the bluesy Jack White stuff. And then they have like this metal rock to it with like the vocals and stuff. And then like a kind of like a grunge feel on some of the guitar. It's so strange.
It's funny. One thing I would love, and it's like predicting the future of where rock and roll is going is really fascinating. I actually haven't had this conversation before. But you know, we're in like rap is hip hop is king right now.
Yeah.
Especially because of EDM, and that's like a seamless transition combining those two, and then you add the pop elements of it, and it's like overbearing how and then you get the streaming and the playlist, and it's all feeding this thing. And then you have rock and roll, like just chugging along like always. But there's music is so cyclical. Things come and go. Things resurface. Like we had like a brief disco age again, which is great. I love Motown, and I actually don't hate disco. Granted, like in the 70s, I probably would have. Like my mother did. My mother graduated in 1980 from high school. Like right in like the peak of disco. And like she was total rebel child and was like AC/DC and Leonard Skinner and like and so that's where the AC/DC came from. So she got me in on that. So my parents are all to blame for my degenerate nature. But you see these patterns in music, and one interesting one is like 90s music too, like Weezer, and like you get the Pixies and stuff. So our buddies,
and that's coming back definitely.
We're friends with a band called the Lonely Biscuits, who and they're like in the indie world and stuff, but they're doing really well. And they're like on tour over the country, and they play like festivals. They're Bonnaroo this year and stuff. But
cool.
their debut LP just came out. But it's still like, but they're like they worked with Cage's guitar player, I think. He produced it, and they like, you see like some Tell Me I'm Pretty Cage stuff in there, but then you see like all this Weezer and Pixies stuff in there too. Cool. And we're just gonna see like this 90s wave, I feel like, of music coming back at like, but again, because of Spotify and Apple Music and like all these YouTube and all these ways to find music, it's completely changed what is popular, and there's so many different bubbles,
and how quickly things can change from being just like this is it to something else.
It's because people that didn't grow up in that time are like finding these songs that they never heard before.
You can just stumble upon it, like
just randomly.
And then they're like, Spotify. You guys ever heard of these people?
Yeah, then you dive into the rabbit hole, man. Go head first, brother.
Hey, as long as 6ix9ine doesn't become just, more popular than he is, or is it 69? Is that the name of this rapper dude? With the freaking rainbow colored dude. I'm gonna just show you a picture of this dude. It's the worst. It's the worst thing ever.
I mean, guilty pleasure for me, I guess, would be Post Malone.
Yeah, he's. I haven't really listened to a lot of Post Malone.
I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of.
That's a real person.
That's a real person.
But it's a real person.
I mean, a lot of his stuff sort of sounds the same, but it's just kind of like, it's got this breath of fresh air to me sound compared to what's going on right now. Like
timing of it all too is like,
I mean, he had that perfect timing.
Makes or breaks careers. It really does. So I'm just kind of hoping like the two-piece thing,
We've been talking about it, and I told, I've said it a bunch of times on this podcast, but I was like, I think rock and roll is kind of making a comeback, in general.
It just might.
Straight rock and roll. I mean, not even like glam rock or hair metal or just any kind of rock and roll. Just flat out rock and roll. Whatever you want to call rock and roll, that sound. Like maybe AC/DC, stuff like that, just in your face. It's coming back.
The thing is when it's roots based. When you have that blues, country, like traditional roots music. When you tie that in, to me, like that's the best kind of rock and roll, because there's so much and if you do that truthfully, if you can understand when you play rock and roll, you're a torchbearer, you're part of the evolvement of the music, which is like, to me, the greatest honor of it all.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I think, so just to speak of my two biggest influences, the White Keys and the White Stripes.
Yeah.
Like, they have this
Freaking love them
beef
both.
of, like, who came first,
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like, they're, you know, Jack is, like, a total bitch, and is, like, you know, talking about the Black Keys stealing stuff, and, like, and then they're, like, kind of assholes, and they like to feed the fire and stuff, and, like, this back and forth of, like, a two-piece rock and roll band. And, like, what is, like, amazing to me is, like, not comprehending that they're just part of the evolvement of rock and roll. And the fact that they both came along and were so successful at the same time was more like just doubling down and getting lucky with two really cool blues, because they both love you know, the blues, like Junior Kimbrough and like Leadbelly and like the real Cats that like started it all.
And you can tell both have kind of almost like even a country.
Oh, certainly. I mean, even look at their careers, how it translated. Like very country based. They both live in Nashville. Like, Jack White like toured with Loretta Lynn for a while.
What the hell? It's like, oh my god.
Like,
she comes out and guest vocals on Seven Nation Army.
I was at the Bridgestone for Jack White and Loretta Lynn.
How did that show go, man?
Really well.
I bet that was a very diverse crowd. Like,
oh, I don't remember. I went through a phase where I was like a concert junkie, but I would like get there like hours before to get front row. Yeah, I was like intense. Again, like this type A. Again, you know, like I've always worked out. Like I'm very intense about the things that I do. It scares a lot of people away. Poor Dalton having to put up with it. But I was like front row for that show. But I was like locked in on Jack and like that whole thing. But I lost my train of thought, but
just I guess country and how they've kind of got that in place.
Definitely, and I have that too. My first concert was Alan Jackson.
Wow, dude, that's awesome.
I got one. Alabama was my first concert.
Oh, that's dope. That's good. Right on.
Nice. Out there, I was like, all right, let's do this.
Man, I remember going on vacation with my family like years and years ago, and we went to like Gulf Shores or something. And like we would be in like town or something and see that they were playing somewhere, and you know you would see them up on like the big sign, and like they all have like the classic look, and like Alabama.
Dude, I was at that concert with one of our friends. His name was Dustin McKeck, right? And me and him were like the tall, skinny dudes in class, right? So we were like best friends. We gotta get together because we both look weird. So we were like.
You tall guys always migrate towards each other.
I know, man. I know. We both
seriously, like,
dang it. But so we were at this concert, and they were playing just straight country, right? And he was like, I remember, I was like, I don't even know, I was like 7. I had to be like the oldest I could have been was 8, and I don't even think I was that old. But I remember him, and he was just dancing like a fool. And he was like, I'm feeling this music. No one around me's feeling it. I'm just getting it. I was like, he's amazing. He's so good.
Let him fly.
Stand back. He's doing this thing. He's just getting it. It's like, no one else is feeling it. And I was like, yes.
Scooting boogie.
I don't know what he's doing right now, but if he's not somewhere dancing, my life is just.
He's
like,
still going at it. He's still feeling it.
Doing the two-step.
Yeah. We never, I don't remember bringing that dude home, and I never saw him since.
He morphed into it.
He became the music.
Any country
night.
music you listen to, he's part of it.
He's transcended life itself.
Transcended to the vibration.
That's great.
But, dude, so, like, do you feel like, recently we had Dusty on, and he was in Them Fixes. They're a little bit heavier, like more towards
Dusty.
Dusty. Yeah. Sorry.
We had Dustin and then Dusty like back to back.
That's just setting yourself up for failure.
I know. And then we had Chris Poor, but you're Christopher, so we're going Christopher.
Sure.
Yeah. But no, man, we recently had Dustin on here from Them Fixes, and he's like the 2-piece band, but I think he plays a 6-string bass. Like a Fender.
Oh, really? That's funny that he does that. That was almost my idea.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading Springsteen's book.
Yeah.
And he was in a 3-piece before. I forgot. I didn't finish the book. I'm awful at reading. But he went to a guitar shop and got like a Fender or a Gibson hollow body.
Yeah.
They only made them in the 60s. and he didn't know it was a bass.
Yeah.
So he strung it like a guitar.
Oh god.
So it's a bass, and so like the strings barely reached at the time, and it had bass pickups, and he was playing it like a guitar, and like some guy came up, he's like, dude, that thing wails, like what are you doing? And then like turns out it ended up being a bass, but strung like a guitar. And it's a brilliant idea. I try to get a Fender Squire or a Squire 6. Fender 6s are like $3,000.
Yeah.
But and it's 6-string bass. But like nowadays, like the next I don't know,
they're out of this
so
world,
like you can't get guitar strings long enough.
Yeah.
But one thing I had thought about, and I might explore, is fixing up a guitar where you have bass pickups and guitar pickups.
Yeah, I've seen people that do that. And I mean, it does turn out pretty good from what I've heard.
Yeah, it's the low end. It's definitely you know what's going on, and it's interesting. So anyway, I interrupted.
Well, no, I was just thinking. I mean, like it's so different because I'm in a 2-piece band, and like everybody's got different approaches to it, man. Like, what would you say, like? What do you feel like you're doing differently from? Have you played with many 2-piece?
Yeah, we did a fun thing with a band called Black Venus.
That's what I was thinking when he was talking about that, because I saw like that whole lead up to it, and it was pretty cool. It was like y'all did it sort of like a
fight. Yeah, we were like it was good. We essentially were like calling each other out, and like it was all staged and stuff. Sorry if like we fooled you. But,
somebody's sitting at home like, I bet money on one of those guys.
And we were like trying to fight for the best 2-piece in Nashville kind of thing.
That's cool.
And we were both on stage at the same time, so we had 2 kits and like kind of going head to head.
Yeah, what venue was this at?
It was at the East Room.
That is cool stuff.
And it was fun. It was a really, really cool, unique thing. I was really glad we did it. And so each round, like we played a song and went back and forth and kind of fed off each other.
Yeah.
And then like fan vote at the end, and then we did the reason for it was we did a split single at Welcome to 1979. And we did it to tape, and like the whole day was like we went in together. Half the day they did their single, half the day we did ours, and since we were 2-piece, no overdubbing, it was just like straight live.
That's so fucking cool, dude. Yeah.
And that's our song Rearrange. And so we did that, and they're like, he doesn't even play standard tuning, he does all slide stuff.
Oh,
which
wow.
is like pretty wild.
Yeah.
And it's it is fascinating because like I'm biased because I think it all stems from the Black Keys and the White Stripes.
Yeah.
And like there are components that like Jack White did a lot, like a few songs he did a lot of slide stuff as a 2-piece. And like I can see Gary from Black Venus like kind of honing in on the slide portion of it. And then you get like guys that are into metal and stuff and there's so much you can do with 2 people. Yeah. And it takes a lot more effort, and it takes like pretty solid musicianship, but you see that like leak into all types of music, and really it's just like your own take on it. I think it's the coolest thing. And it's just a matter of making it work and like finding your niche within it. I saw there's some band called like Fox or something, and like it's like this girl and guy, and they like do like country kind of 2-piece, like again, I just think of Jack White, of course, with it, and it's like real country based, but like real rockabilly kind of stuff, but like not the way we do it. It's like, again, their own unique way of doing it. And for us, what separates us is Dalton. Like straight up, he is an unreal drummer. Like gospel chops, like. Guys with gospel chops tell him he has gospel chops, and that's when you know. And what he's able to do with the songs is really great. And I'm not gonna say anything about myself. So, but he definitely is a huge component on separating.
That's awesome.
Or just helping us stand out.
Yeah.
And it's all about the songs, man. It really is. There's at the end of the day, like that's what we're doing. We're like entertainers for the live show, making sure you have a good time. Like just us having a good time.
Y'all doing all right tonight?
Not asking how people are doing.
Yeah.
You're fine, I'm sure.
Or you wouldn't be at a concert.
Even if you're not fine, trust me, neither am I.
Welcome to the... Yeah.
And welcome to the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
And I'll say that before I say that.
Yeah, heck yeah.
But you're an entertainer, and then also, but you're a songwriter. And it's just songs are so important for us as just human beings, and the way we can relate to them, and every moment in your life you have a song for it.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah.
And even when you're you're thinking of music all day, especially as musicians, there are people that don't do that.
I don't know what
it's really weird to think of that, because I'm always just about every point in my life I have a song in my head. I'm either humming it or I'm singing something, or somebody says something to me and then I will make up some stupid song about it or something randomly, or one time there was a story where I was spending the night at John's house and he was singing about drinking milk. He just got some milk out of the fridge and he was gonna take this milk, drink it with my mouth or something. And it's that just happens to us all the time.
Well, it's just there's so many. I mean, oh God, I sound
what do these people do that don't listen to music,
man? Well, it's funny. My stepdad's dad. So my stepdad Randy, his dad, and I call him Gramps. And called him Grammy and Gramps.
Yeah,
Grammy passed 4 years ago, maybe, and she was the best.
God, yeah, that's cool.
She one thing about Grammy is she always remembered whatever you talked about last. An unreal memory.
Oh, that's cool, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, if she hadn't seen you in a while, she always knew so how did that thing go? And you're what?
Freaking
I remember what I did yesterday. And then, but Gramps, and they're both doctors, kind of pioneers in the field of genetics. And Gramps is the best. I love Gramps to death. But Gramps, he was a doctor. He got his PhD. He got his MD. He's a brilliant man. And he I was doing the whole math thing, and he's oh, I understand what you're doing. And then I do this music thing, and he's so how are you gonna make money? I'm like one day. If you book them, they will come. And but he never really grew up with a lot in music. And I think there was Frank and Elvis when he was a young man, and he fought in I think the Korean War.
There you go.
And I think he was in World War II too.
Wow.
He's done so much, dude. Holy crap.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He is awesome.
I get Frank on this podcast.
Get Gramps here, Wayne Finley, Dr. Wayne Finley. And but he's one of those guys that he reads a lot of nonfiction. He talk about just a living encyclopedia. Just countless information, because he reads all the time. So there's always that entertainment realm that you go into, and when you go to older generations, books are a huge component of it. And but some people just don't. But I'm right there with you. I sing all the time. I'm either today I was telling y'all I was just writing a song all day. Just I wouldn't listen to any music today. I just had to have that song in my head, or else I was gonna forget it.
I hate when that happens too. You've got a song and then you're what did I do? The next time you sit down with the guitar, you totally brain fart. And you're never coming back again.
So
I've gotten to the point of recording everything I do with my phone.
You gotta get those voice memos out.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, my friend Seth, he was the pioneer in my life of that thing. Because the way that he wrote songs, he would have the melody in his brain first, and he wouldn't have the guitar parts or the bass parts or the drum parts. It would just be, you know.
I've done that once.
And that's how he would record the songs in the voice memo. And he'd be like, but he would make the noises with his mouth. And he'd be like, you know, and he would send them to me in like a message, and he'd be like, dude, listen to this. But the funny thing was, I would get what he was doing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because of how I am as a musician.
Yeah,
I would get it, and then I would like, you know, put beats to it.
Well, sometimes it just makes sense. I like there was one guitar riff that was a melody in my head. Like this happens, it very seldomly happens, and the whole day I was singing it, and I like sang it into my phone when I got in my car. I was delivering groceries and like ran to my car, and I was like singing it in my phone. And then I went home and like tried to noodle it and finally figured it out.
It's so much harder for me to do it that way though, you know, like I've tried that a few times.
Yeah,
it works, but
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like and when it does, it's really interesting. I mean, there's a million ways to skin a cat. There really is.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think I'm always fascinated on people that just do it all by like melody and stuff.
The craziest part about how he wrote though, and what made his guitar playing so unique, because he was a vocalist first, and then, or I think he started out on bass, and then he did vocals, and then he taught himself how to play guitar after that. But he would put the vocals into the guitar, so like he wouldn't write guitar and then put vocals to it. He would have the vocals in his head, and he would put that into the guitar part.
Oh.
So it was like he was writing vocals on a guitar.
So very melodic and like...
And so that's what made the guitar playing that he did so weird, but work.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
Dude, so you said earlier a couple ways to skin a cat. And speaking of skin cats, I believe you brought some merch out.
Sure, yeah, I did.
I was reaching out. I was just like, how am I going to get this merch out? But
yeah. I can, it's over here. You want to go grab it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll grab it.
Sure. It's just in that bag.
I will be back.
It's not a whole lot.
Big bag of merch, man.
It's organized again, and
put it right here.
I just kind of
tighten up.
Section tighten up, baby.
Yes.
It's so funny. My friend Caden, he gave me this bag. No, his dad, gave me this bag, and he found out that I used it as my merch bag and got really excited. So here's some hangers.
Now it's famous too.
Famous merch bag.
Famous merch bag.
Thanks, Peter Zimmerman.
Dude, I freaking love the color of that.
So these are the shirts. I guess I should show them. Yeah, so there's that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
A guy named Charlie Ropp. You probably can't hear me. Charlie Ropp. He did this. The design.
I freaking dig that, dude.
Knocked it out of the park, man.
Is that next level
awesome.
T2? The next level? Is that?
Yeah, it is next level. Yeah.
It's a good brand.
Yeah, beautiful brand. Incredibly soft. Also, I'm a sleeve roller.
Yeah.
I get a lot of shit for that. People are like, because of like I lift, and then they think that it's for the like showing off muscles.
Yeah.
It is not.
What do you got?
It's like having a resolution to the clothing.
Yeah.
You know? Otherwise, like, it's just, some shirts kind of just hang. And it's kind of, to me, like, you know, makes it a little bit more presentable.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing about...
It's a little bit more classy.
If anything, super skinny dudes should, like, do it. Who cares about what size your arms are? Just do a good roll. And these are good rolling shirts. Okay.
Nice.
Was that the freaking...
That was the selling point for you. These are nicely rolling.
Good roll.
Heck yeah. Good color too.
You can do the brother man roll, if that's even a thing. But
if you wear that shirt, you gotta roll it. Is that what I'm hearing? If you want to be brother man,
please me.
Yeah. Don't let me catch you out.
It'd mean a lot. No, you cannot roll it, but it would mean a lot. It shows you care.
Yeah.
And these are the CDs, the new record. Yeah, we did. We never had hard copies of like an EP before. We have. This is our third one, and that's the album artwork. That was done. That was an accidental photo, Polaroid, by our buddy Eric Maynard, who is
Nice.
fantastic. He runs. I'll always botch the name. It's OOKO Oku Studios.
Oh, okay.
And it's brand new, but it's like this kind of art community collective kind of thing where
That's
they're
cool.
doing, and we're actually doing a live session on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing 3 of the songs from the record.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, so that it was like an accidental photo,
I like it,
Polaroid, no editing at all. Like
Yeah.
that was how he got it on a Polaroid.
That's pretty
cool.
sick, man. I freaking dig that.
And when we were trying to figure out what to use as the artwork, I'm not creative in that realm.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and Dalton actually, he was like, well, what if we use this? And I was like, well, how will we get words? And he was like, well, let's just not put words on it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then the back was my first little Photoshop experience or shot, and it turned out all right. I used the photo's probably a little dark, but that was the other good Polaroid shot he got. Here, I can take a look and see. And but yeah, and it's 6
that's
songs,
really cool.
and we're real proud of this one. That's for sure.
I dig that, dude.
And yeah, so there's that, and then we have.
Dude, I've got a friend, and his name is Mark Anthony Whitmore.
Ooh.
He's the same. I mean, he lives in New York, so I'm guessing he's not your producer.
Probably
but he
not.
could have been. In the military, I don't know.
I don't know. And then we actually, so when we did that split single with Black Venus, we got.
Oh, wow.
Yes, dude.
made.
Dude, that is awesome.
So yeah, we have y'all can.
I
check
freaking
those
dig that, dude.
out. We only got like 25 made. We sold like a few. I mean, no one has cassettes anymore.
Yeah.
And like the whole. I mean, the more than anything, it was a really unique experience, and we wanted like something physical.
It reminds me
out
of
of it.
Super Jail, like that art style.
Yeah. Who
And,
did your art for this, dude?
Her name's Megan.
That's freaking cool.
What's it? Megan Cahill. Yeah, I didn't know her last name. Sorry, Megan. But yeah, and then there's the tape.
That's so bad, dude.
One side's Black
Sourpuss.
Venus, Sourpuss, and then rearranges on the
That's
other side.
freaking super cool.
And yeah, it was. I mean, very unique experience, and
Like, there's a lot of people in this world today that have never held one of these.
yeah, that
In
is
their
true.
hands.
Yeah,
It's a sad thing, man.
like freaking high schoolers graduating born in 2000.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I remember my mom specifically, like, when I was growing up, she had a, dang, what kind of car was that? It was like a very specific, I can't remember. But anyways, like, in the console, it was full of cassettes. I remember specifically
yes.
there being Phil Collins,
Yes.
Journey,
Hell yeah.
and Def Leppard
So
in the
the
console.
good stuff.
Yeah.
See them soon. In August, I'm seeing Def Leppard, man.
Dang.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that's awesome.
Well, and Journey.
Oh.
Journey's headlining or whatever. Yeah, dude, I got tickets.
Nice.
With what was that guy's name? That
can't
took
remember
over
that dude, but
yeah,
he's good.
I saw him like the first year they did that.
Was he good?
It was like I was in 8th grade or something, and it was. And here's I'll give you all those at least.
nice.
Those are the
Oh,
stickers.
nice.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
freaking did
It's
that.
just the T-shirt. Yeah, there you go.
Mm.
So
Who did this artwork? Same person?
same.
or-
It's the same. It's the same picture.
Oh.
And just sticker form.
Yeah. No. I mean, like, was the same lady that did this, did the
T-shirts.
the other
Oh
one,
no! That was Megan, and that was Charlie Ropp that did the
Okay,
T-shirt
okay.
design and stuff. But I mean,
That's
there
it,
is
dude.
like there are similarities
Yeah,
to it for sure.
Yeah.
And oh, I can't forget my hangers. Oh,
Dude,
my-
yeah, if you would have left those hangers, I would have sold them on the black market.
Yeah.
And
These are we don't want anyone to know about these hangers. They're very high
Top
quality.
secret.
Yeah, they're made of carbon.
yes. Heck yeah, man.
And then my little towel here. I've said towel a lot today. I had a whole conversation at Publix that was all towel voices.
Slightly
And it
towel
was just
related.
me. It was just me going, "You're a towel."
Oh, you're a towel. Dude.
Speaking of Publixes, that Publix right there, I hate working at Publix.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind
Publix
shopping
is-
there, but
Publix.
I hate working.
Yeah.
I hate working.
What is it? Is it Publix? Is it Publix?
Like, a lot of people don't know this, but for Nabisco, it is the #1 selling Publix in our district. So,
Yeah, well, it's because like that Publix is nuts. It's also like way too small.
Yeah.
It's like for the amount of traffic that they get. It's the busiest
Speaking of
Publix
that-
in the state, and it's like one of the
speaking
smaller
of
ones.
that, I got into a wreck there.
Is that where you called me from?
Yes.
Damn, Publix.
A couple of weeks ago in that parking lot.
Fun
I was
days.
wait. You know how like how there's the Publix there, and then like over here is like the bank.
Yeah.
I was in this going this way, waiting for someone to come out of the parking spot up this way,
Yeah.
and I saw there was a truck backing out of the bank parking spots, and he was gonna come past me. Well, it was like some sort of glass company, and he had this big metal rack on the side. And I was just sitting there, and he tried to go past me and went down the back side of my car. And I was like,
that's the worst.
like I just got to that store. It was my first store of the day to work, and I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
That's a
It's gonna
bad
be my
day.
Dude, and we got out of the movies the other day at that AMC that's in Bellevue or whatever, and somebody was parked on my bumper. I went full redneck, dude. I mean, I was like, discuss. Rip his freaking rear mirror. Oh, I was so mad because it's not like, okay, I can understand you accidentally parked too close, whatever,
Yeah,
right?
just back up a little
back
bit.
up a little bit. He parked and left his car there on my bumper.
It was touching it. Oh
They're
my
kissing.
I was
god!
like, I'm so mad. If he would have just hit it and backed up, I probably never would have known
Yeah.
because it didn't even leave a mark. I backed up my car and I was like, ah! I went off, dude. So
I had that. I had like mine. I always park in the garage at Publix.
Oh yeah.
Just because it's like cooler. Like in the summer, you don't have to worry about your car getting too hot. It's usually less crowded down there. And I parked one day, and then I like went. I think I went up, and then I went out, and then I came back and this car was there. And I'm not even kidding. She was like that close. Like
my
it
God.
was like
yeah.
at certain angles, I was like, "Oh my God, you hit it!
Yeah,
you hit
yeah.
my car!"
Yeah.
And then I like looked, and it was like paper.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
And I
yeah.
was like, "How did she do that?"
It's like magic. Man. Well, dude, so we always try to end our podcast with something like positive. So
Okay, I don't know much about that.
positive. All right. If you got a guy,
It's been dark, man. Post-release depression is real.
that's true. That's true. Dang it.
Like, what am I gonna do
I
now?
know. Yeah. Oh God.
No, we can. This is good. This maybe will
Yeah.
like. I've been working on getting out of the rut. Maybe
There you go.
takes
Yeah.
takes guts to get out of the rut.
It does. That's true.
That's a good saying to have on here.
That right there is good.
Oh,
That's to get out of the
that's
ruts.
Aaron Rip. We have to, we'll have to. That's a buddy of ours.
Gonna give it to him.
So shout out to Aaron. That's a good
Yeah.
friend with Dalton. So
I think
takes guts to get out of the ruts.
That's true, man. So if you've got some advice for inspiring musicians, what would you say? Like somebody trying to start a band?
Wrong thing to talk about, right?
Dun, dun, dun. Don't do it. Turn back.
It's a big waste of time, man.
No money in it.
I would say, because I mean, I'm still an aspiring musician
Yeah.
by all means. Long way to go, long road ahead. But to anyone that like is thinking about it, and you there, it's hard for one, and it takes a lot of time. It's not just gonna like. I mean, for some people it does just happen, and some people have a lot of money and like can make it happen, and some people have a lot of connections too.
Yeah.
But what really goes down like to the nitty gritty, and for all aspects of music, is to put it completely straight. Like if you feel it,
Yeah.
and if like you know that there is like this deep connection to the type of music that you play. And again, it can be country music, it can be blues, it can be metal, it can be punk, whatever it is, but like you know that there is a part of you in the music that you're playing. And work on songwriting for whatever that music is, and don't limit yourself either. So with your songwriting, if you feel especially with like roots music, you can feel Motown in it. You can feel country. You can feel Western. You can feel blues. You can feel rockabilly. Like, it's all in there. Don't limit yourself, but make sure you feel it and make sure you write good songs.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, we're slaves to the songs, man.
It's the truth.
We really are. And, yeah, you know, just keep on keeping on. Because I'm sure as I'm trying.
I'm telling you, man, like, music and, like, where you're saying make sure you're into it, like, for me, the whole reason, like, one of the big reasons I got into music, it was, like, I mean, I was going through some pretty shitty stuff, and I was young, and it was the first summer I remember I ever got into music. Like, I was, like, before that I just did, you know, whatever my parents were playing or whatever in the car, you know, and, but I was going through a really, really just shitty summer of my life, and one of my friends gave me Trust Company. I don't know if you ever heard that band. They're from Alabama, actually. But Trust Company, they gave me that CD, and I was listening to it, and I was just going through some shit, and I was like, I would sit outside and just listen to that CD, and I was like, whatever he's talking about right now, he probably totally gets what I'm going through, you know? And that kind of got me through that, and so whenever I first got into music, I was like, I want to give somebody back what I got from that CD, you know? And so that was my drive, you know? And,
it's wild how, like, again, with songwriting and writing, like, true songs, and to really write a good song, you have to do three things. And you have to listen, you have to observe. So listen with your ears, observe with your eyes, and be honest through it all. Yeah. Like, from the beginning to end, every note, every bit of it, make sure that, like, even if, like, I mean, there's lots of types of songs, like, you can be satirical, you can be, you know, goofy or funny, but, like, you can still do that, like, with truth to it. And, and a lot of that is all observation, and, like, listen, you observe the world around you. I love observational comedy, and it's just, like, taking note of things, and then listening to, of course, like, making sure. So, anyway, when you do that, you write a good song, and all of a sudden you're connecting with people in ways that you don't even realize. Because, again, at the end of the day, the song is art, and art is open to interpretation.
Yeah, exactly.
So he could have been going through something exactly the same as you, or something like totally opposite.
Exactly.
But what matters is you connected with it, and that's what's so cool about songs, is just being able to connect. And, like, be gravitated to different types of music, just because there is something about it, man.
It's the truth. It's like another language, dude.
It is.
It is the language. There's no other one, man.
That's the truth. Well, man, so you guys, you said you've got a show that's coming out. Are y'all doing a show on Thursday? Is it open to the public?
Oh, no. Thursday will be fun. It's like a little, he said acoustic, and I was like, we're not really that.
You're going to be throwing it down acoustic.
We'll be throwing it down. No, it's, you know, we're so minimal, but, we're doing, like, some live sessions, and that's going to be some good video content, and then, we have some videos from the release show. They'll be out soon. We're working on some music videos.
There you go.
It's kind of video content creation time, because we're lacking on that, and we want to, you know, we do have that live, fun energy, high energy show, and we're trying to, like, get that out on the interwebs. And for people to see and hopefully be enticed enough by to help us climb the ranks. And then we actually don't have I know we're doing a thing called Bob Fest in September. Our buddies in the Rag Coats are putting that on.
That's cool.
I don't know where it is, but I know there's supposed to be some cool bands at it.
There you go, Bob Fest, dude.
And that's in September, and you know, things pop up throughout the summer. Summer is weird, especially when you're at our level, but we'll be around. We're do I do plugs, like social media plugs?
Throw it out there, dude.
You know, we're on Facebook. It's Brotherman. Brotherman 615 is kind of the overall tag. So Instagram is Brotherman 615. Facebook is like /Brotherman 615. on SoundCloud and Bandcamp and all
Dude,
that
yeah,
stuff.
we'll plug all your stuff, like put links
Yeah,
on.
cool. I didn't know. I've never done this
We're gonna
before.
throw
I
it
hope I
down,
did
dude.
good, people. Thank you for putting
Yeah.
up with me.
This is a good one.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you. This is fun.
Hell yeah.
Right on, y'all.
We'll be good, dude.
Do you do this thing at the end?
Yeah!